This Labor Day weekend caps the end of a remarkable summer for U.S. labor. There have been over 230 strikes so far this year, and UPS and airline pilots in particular scored big gains for their members. But Hollywood remains on strike, and it looks like flight attendants and auto workers are going next. Welcome to MOMocrats MOMochat, part of the Demcast family of podcasts. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills, here with Karoli and Aliza Worthington of crooksandliars.com. And, today we had yet another economic report. And the economy has slowed down to pre-pandemic levels, which means that we added 280,000 jobs instead of 400,000 jobs. And was it 280,000 or 180,000?
I think it was 180.
It was 180.
I think it was 189,000 if you want to be
okay, 189,000 jobs.
Yeah.
But inflation continues to go down, and yet the salary of these new jobs, people's salaries are outpacing the inflation.
Right.
So, this is another win for our friend Dark Brandon.
Hey, Dark Brandon. I should have worn my Dark Brandon t-shirt.
He keeps on winning.
Bidenomics works and nobody's paying attention.
Well, the problem is that people are paying attention, but they think it's bad because there's still some stuff that needs to be fixed. Like grocery store prices are still really high. Gas prices are still really high.
Yes.
So those are the things that people measure. That they don't look at the macro. They're looking at, what am I paying to fill my tank? What am I paying to feed my kids?
Right.
And so
it was 187,000 jobs.
Okay.
Caroli,
I was close, but no cigar.
No, you're close. I'll give you a cigar.
Housing is still just too high. There is not enough affordable housing. Those are big problems in the economy that predate this administration.
And people who get jobs are, still getting low wage jobs, and our minimum wage hasn't. A lot of states have increased the minimum wage to $15 an hour, which is still really hard to live on.
Yeah.
And it just hasn't kept pace with the cost of living.
Right.
There are legitimate difficulties, challenges for people out there. So, I don't want to minimize that.
No.
But there are also some awesome things that are happening, especially with student loans.
Measurable, tangible improvements,
I just saw somebody on, I don't know, one of the social media services. There's so many now. It was not Twitter, say that, they just found out that their $130,000 loan had been wiped out. So, those, and I see a lot of postings like that. And I read another one where somebody, I don't know if you guys, because we're just reunited after 5 weeks or whatever, but so I don't know if last week you guys talked about this, but the SAVE plan that Biden has for student loan borrowers as their student loans start to be payable again in October means that essentially their payments could be cut in half. They could be cut down to zero. They could not accrue interest. There's a whole list of things that can actually happen with their student loans that'll be good for them and will give them more disposable income to go and do other things.
Right.
And those are, that's huge.
Big. That is just so big. It is, I would like to see the Red Rose people acknowledge is being done,
I know. I don't even spend very much time over on the place where the Red Rose people are anymore.
I can't be there. I can't.
It's just too much crap you have to
So
wade through to
draining.
get to anything that's good. So, too negative. I confess I've been spending more time on Reddit than I have on Twitter, or X or whatever the thing's called now. So
I
Nobody
refuse
calls
to. I
it.
refuse to call it X. I'm
Nobody
sorry.
calls it X.
I
yeah.
still call them
Well,
tweets.
except for like the New York Times, which calls it the service formerly known as Twitter, now known as X. Oh, shoot. But yeah, so anyway, I mean, those are all really good things for people.
Yeah.
And then in the same neighborhood as this is good for the economy, we have drug negotiations for Medicare.
I
And
am so impressed with that.
Big.
yeah,
That is
and
huge.
the ones that they're negotiating on are really expensive drugs too. I mean, like
Yes.
Stelara, for example, is for Crohn's, and it's very expensive. You have to do an infusion in the doctor's office, and then you do injections like every 6 weeks, and everything's supposed to be very effective. I don't know. We're finding out right now, actually.
Oh.
So, not me, but Adam has. Yeah. So
Is he doing those injections? Is he doing the infusions?
Yeah, the Stelara. Yeah.
So is it one infusion and then every 6 weeks, or
every 6 weeks injections? So it's like an initial infusion and then injections every 6 weeks. And the injections are expensive, big expensive. So I'm hoping that price will go down for him and everybody else who suffers from Crohn's who's not 65 too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, like with the insulin, they put the cap on the insulin for the seniors, and then the companies followed through with everybody else.
Right. Not all insulin, though. If you noticed on that list is Humalog, which is the one that's most used by anybody who has an insulin pump uses Humalog, and it's really expensive. So yeah. So if that got negotiated, that would be great. Yeah. So, I mean, those are all great things. And I think, like if I had my Dark Brandon t-shirt on right now, I'd be like, yes, Dark Brandon.
Yeah.
Because they're all wonderful things.
Yeah.
So,
well, we can't forget we've got the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. We've got they're bringing broadband to rural communities. You've got the CHIPS and science. You've got
the Inflation Reduction Act.
Yep.
Except for Florida. Florida doesn't have the Inflation Reduction Act.
Florida doesn't want any of the federal money.
No, I don't think that's true of the people in Florida. I think the people in Florida would welcome the federal money.
DeSantis doesn't want.
Ron DeSantis won't take it because he's an asshole.
Right.
And he's
with the red states that wouldn't take extra money for Medicaid because they refused to expand it.
Because then they don't have to cover Black people. I mean, that was so obvious. It was disgusting.
And then one other thing that the Biden administration announced this week is that they're changing overtime rules so that low-wage salaried workers, people
I didn't know this,
under $50,000, but they're salaried, will have to be paid overtime now if they work longer than 40 hours a week. Because a lot of companies have been getting around the labor laws by saying, oh, you're salaried, you're just making $30,000 a year, but your management, you're salaried, I mean, that's big too.
This is news to me.
This happened just a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And is this an executive order, or what's happening with this?
Well, I think he ordered the Department of Labor to do regulations or whatever they do in order to change those levels. So, that they're more in line with what people are being paid today.
Yeah.
So if you're salaried at 50, but if you make $50,000 or less on a salary, you work more than 40 hours, anything over 40 hours, you get paid overtime. It gets like prorated into an hourly thing, and you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know.
So happy Labor Day, folks. I mean,
right? Cheers.
Wow. I could have used that in the horrible, abusive job that had me working 18 hours a day.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? We've all had jobs like that. And we've all, we've all been, oh yeah, I'm salaried,
Yeah, they didn't, oh boy, did they take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But so, I mean, the overall picture should be that these things are good for everybody.
Yeah.
At least everybody but billionaires, maybe, but even billionaires, what do they care, right? I mean, they're
oh, they care. They care about everything. They don't want to they don't want to part with a red cent.
Yeah, well, they get to well, screw them. They can part with their red cent.
I know.
I mean, I think about the absolute obscene wealth of some of these people and what they spend it on, and I think they need to pay more taxes.
Damn right. Damn right.
Yeah.
Speaking of billionaires,
oh God, which one?
We've got Tish James, who they've
fake billionaires
summarily judged that the evidence is there. The Trump organization inflated their assets by billions of dollars.
Well, that's what she's asking for. Yeah.
She's asking for summary judgment.
She's asking for summary judgment and a fine of $250 million.
Yeah. So, and in the summary judgment business, this is the one that just does my heart good.
Oh, as it does for any native New Yorker.
Yeah. Rudy Giuliani just got judged that, oh my goodness, that he defamed Shay Moss and Ruby Freeman, and he did. He did defame them. I mean, it's
absolutely defamed them.
Yeah.
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 So the only thing left to decide is how much he's liable, how much damages he's going to owe, how much in damages he'll owe.
And I hope that they are at the front of the line of people that he owes money to.
So I hope there's a long line.
Get that money.
What the heck?
I don't know if you guys were watching Nicole Wallace before this, before we started, but she had on the former, the Secretary of State of Michigan, and
I did see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just talking about that Merrick Garland had pursued, I don't know how many, like 14 federal cases against people who had threatened election workers, and 7 or 9 convictions and a couple of guilty pleas. But there had been thousands of referrals for people that had been threatened. And they, they're just putting federal protections around these protection workers now. And I can't remember the name of the woman who, or maybe it was Nicole Wallace who said, we really need to put, 9/11 style protections around our election workers now because of the threats that they're receiving and the, their safety. They've so many have left jobs for, they're not just their election jobs, their jobs because they're afraid for their safety. How many of them have had to, leave town, move houses, change addresses, sell,
Yeah. That was Jocelyn Benson that Nicole Wallace was.
Jocelyn Benson.
Yeah. And Nicole started that segment or the show with a repeat of Shay Moss's testimony before the
they showed her testifying in front of Congress.
I mean, that heartbreaking testimony where she talks about how she's just been hounded into just becoming a recluse.
Yeah, she can't leave her house. She said she's second.
She doesn't want anybody to say her name. She won't go with her mom anywhere because she's afraid they'll, say her name. It's just what he did to them was pure evil. And then for him to justify it by saying something really stupid. I mean, I can't even remember how he tried to justify it. It was like, it's okay to lie. If you it's okay. It's not a crime to lie is basically how he put it.
First Amendment right to lie, but it's not your First Amendment right to defame. It is
Right.
not slander is a crime.
Yeah.
So
yeah, Mr. Lawyer.
The First Amendment does not cover you defaming two law-abiding citizens who were just trying to help, volunteering for the good of the country. How dare he?
I agree.
If they still feel that they have to hide, I think that his $6 million townhouse in New York will be a comfortable spot.
I do too.
Not that they would want to set foot in that, but I mean, sell it and give them the money, let them go wherever the hell they want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, they should get everything, all the things. It's just, it just blows me away. And that's the only thing that's left to determine is how much he's got is going to be theirs. And
he didn't even do discovery. What the hell is he hiding that he would take the judgment instead of fighting?
Oh, I think there's all kinds of things he's hiding. I think I think he's been compromised by the Russians. I think that he's did so many evil things.
There was reporting on that today.
Yeah.
About him being compromised by the Russians.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I don't know if you guys remember, but I know you remember this part. When in 2016, when Hillary was running, and there was all this sort of in October, but before October 31st, when all the shit hit the fan, there was a lot of rumors about the New York FBI office.
Yes.
And how they were feeding information to Trump. So a couple of weeks ago, the head of the counterintelligence in the New York FBI office pled guilty to spying for the Russians.
Yeah.
He pled guilty to one count. And I mean, it's not hard for me to imagine that he, was feeding information to Rudy and everything else. I mean, I think there's things in the discovery that Rudy Giuliani does not want known by anybody, and he would be willing to take a judgment over having to reveal them. And I don't think that's conspiracy thinking either. I mean, he didn't disclose.
It's just logical.
At this point, what I am appalled at is that we have all made that jump where it's like this guy who was in charge of the New York office in 2016 and, all of that stuff getting fed. And the mainstream media doesn't make the jump. What the hell?
No,
they don't even ask the question.
No. They didn't then, and they won't now. They didn't. They were, oh my God. Don't even.
I mean, the New York Times was playing right along. They have sources at the FBI, and they wanted to protect their sources, so they didn't ask any questions or question anything. And even now, did you know that guy pled guilty? The only reason I knew that he pled guilty is because I have a Google search out on his name, and so it came back.
That was covered. MSNBC did cover that.
Did they? Well, that's good.
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean, but we don't know the extent of all the rat fucking that went on out of that office, and that would be something I'd love to know, just so that we could clean it up for the future.
Shirley, tell me his name.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't right now. Yeah. I don't remember it. I'm so bad with names. I'll just have to.
I'm going to search it.
FBI, New York.
I'm searching it. I got it.
Convicted. Okay. Charles McGonigal.
Yes, thank you.
Oh, that's right. I remember that name.
Yeah, that was in the news. But it was, they didn't go into a lot of detail, the reporting. And I would not be surprised. I mean, I'm betting that a lot of it is classified. A lot of what they have on him is classified. It looks like my tree trimmers just arrived. I see a green truck outside. We'll have to see how this goes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can we pause and pick it up later when it's done?
We can't pause, but I can edit I can edit stuff out. I mean, we could come back to it, but you guys have lives, I don't know what's
Yeah,
going to be.
let's just get through as much as we can and see what happens. I mean, maybe it won't be ridiculously loud.
Let me
let's look at the list. Let's look at the list and try to get through as much as we can.
Let me text my husband so that he can answer the door.
Yeah. So, I mean, if we're going to talk about the New York FBI office and all the rest of it, we should probably talk about all the Trump cases and the insurrectionists.
We need a bingo card or,
my God.
Track of it
We need a bingo card, not just for that, but also for insurrectionist sentencing. Like first of all, have you noticed that all the really bad guys have daughters? I feel so bad for those daughters. I mean, like all of them, they cried in court.
Or are they just saying that?
No, they do. But I mean, they cried in court. I don't think they would say they had daughters if they didn't. So maybe, but like today, even was it Patrizzo that was Pizzola. That's See, I'm so bad with names.
He cried to the court that biggest mistake he ever made, January 6th. He's a changed man. He's so sorry. And then
he's not going to get into politics. Remember, he said he's done with politics. Done with politics.
And then after the sentencing, he shouts, "Trump won."
Trump won.
Yeah.
Trump won.
Yeah. Thank you, Karoli. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, and he only got 10 years. He should have gotten more, honestly.
All of them are getting like half of what the government asked for, and it is a Trump-appointed judge.
Oh, well, that makes sense, I guess, but still. Still they're getting something, but, it's just...
He got 10 years. Pizzola got 10 years, and then the other two guys got like 17
Proud
years.
Boys, right? Are they Proud
17
Boys
and 16 or something.
17 and 16 years?
Proud Boys. Proud Boys. Yeah. And then I think there was an Oath Keeper that got a bunch. And then Enrique Tarrio, we're still waiting on. I guess he had
waiting. I think the judge was sick and they had to postpone.
It was the judge.
They had to reschedule.
Okay.
His sentencing.
So
we'll look at next week probably for that, I think.
Yeah.
So the insurrectionists are all uniformly, I mean, you do need a bingo card. You need, my daughter will miss me. My wife won't have, will have a job. I'll lose my house.
I just want to take my daughter to school.
Yeah, right.
Like you ever took your daughter to school,
Right.
But anyway,
I know.
P.S. Your daughter's going to grow up a lot better without you for the next 10 years or 17 years or whatever. If you don't mind, you don't mind my saying, you're not the best example,
Yeah. You're a shitty example of a human being and she's better off without you. I totally agree. I couldn't agree more.
In the FO phase of FAFO.
Oh. Yeah. That was actually our post title for the first one earlier this week. And then that was MSNBC's segment opening.
That was the name of our show last week.
Oh, right.
That was the name of our show.
Yeah, I know. I saw it. I think that's where I subconsciously stole it from.
I didn't steal it from anybody.
No, everybody's saying it. Everybody's saying it. It's in the national psyche.
And I mean, it's not just the Proud Boys. Now Trump is in the process of finding out too. As is Sidney Powell and Jenna Ellis and, Ken Chesbro. It cracks me up. Rachel Maddow always calls him Ken Cheesebro, and
she does, and other people do too. I just did, but
well,
it's not spelled that way though, right? It's just one E.
Better, Cheesebro, yeah.
Right. There's only one E in the.
Right. It's Chesbro. Yeah.
It's Chesbro. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, he's the one that I think I'm the most disappointed about because, he actually had an education and mentors that were not right-wing lunatics. And all I can think of is this is a guy who must have just been so seduced by interesting legal angles. I mean, if you're a lawyer, and you're trained to be a lawyer, you're trained to argue both sides of a thing. And some people get very into that mindset and they sort of lose their morals. And that's what happened, I think, to him, is that he just lost his morals. Johnny, he's going to get disbarred and then he's going to go on trial. And he's still out there insisting that everything he did was right.
Yeah. Peter Navarro, just got his claim of executive privilege slapped down. So now he's really go on trial.
What a dummy.
And I mean, he's the one who was out on Ari Melber telling the whole plot,
Right.
He is such a
I know.
idea.
Majorly stupid. Like,
what an idiot.
I wouldn't call it stupid as much as arrogant. Like these guys are so wrapped up in their own hubris that they're, they don't see what they're doing.
Maybe it is more arrogance than stupidity.
No, you have for their own damn good is the problem.
Yeah, you had Meadows out there testifying for 3 hours, basically proving
5 hours.
Oh, 5 hours. Sorry.
5 hours.
Yeah. Right. Taking the stand, which shocked everybody because then he waives his Fifth Amendment privilege the minute he did that and everything. And he's out there, spilling the beans too. I mean, he's saying, I did these things, but it was all part of my job.
No, it was my job.
It was the service of the campaign. It was not part of your federal job. Why did you do that? I didn't want him to yell at me.
A grown man.
Yeah, that one, more than anything else, I could not believe. I'm like, excuse me?
Except that is actually the most honest,
probably,
of any of his testimony. Probably.
I'm sure it's the most honest of all the testimony, but I mean, come on.
But it is just flabbergasting.
It is. It's just amazing.
That is the case. When you think about it, first of all, as an aside, allow me to say that I am still somewhat gratified that my mind is still able to be blown by anything at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. But it is absolutely astonishing to me that this country for 4 years the fate of this country is held in the hands of people who are afraid of being yelled at by a man who has overcooked steak and ketchup for dinner every night, and who is just who has the stunted emotional growth of a spoiled fifth grader.
Oh, I would put him younger than that.
I mean, a toddler. And this is just, and they are and these are men in their 60s or 50. I don't know how old Mark Meadows is.
I think Meadows is in his 50s, but whatever. I mean, he's old enough to know better.
They were in Congress. These are people who were in Congress. These are people who had risen to such,
Right. They're old enough to know better.
Old enough to know
better. You really have to, you're reminded of what it took for Cassidy Hutchinson to come forward.
Right.
In that atmosphere at her age with her gender.
Mm-hmm. She was strong. She was great.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait. I am hoping that more of the 18 that are indicted under the RICO just go ahead and flip. And, because
that some of them will.
They're going to have to, because Trump, today's line of the day from these guys was Trump's not paying our legal bills. And I'm like, why are you surprised by this? He doesn't pay his own legal bills. Why would he pay yours?
Right.
He
has never paid anything. He has never paid his bills for anything in the last 45 years. He's never paid for anything.
Through the entire Republican Party, that all of them, he's sucking up all the money for his PAC, which is paying his legal fees and for his attorneys. And there's less fundraising being done down the ballot. So, good. That's good.
I just read an article today about the RNC basically being broke compared to the DNC's got like 3 times the money as the RNC. And they're doing the fundraising is huge.
Yeah.
And everything. And so the thing is, I don't think that the RNC can use WinRed or does use WinRed. I'm not sure, but WinRed is a for-profit, unlike ActBlue, which is a not-for-profit. WinRed is for-profit, so they're sucking out a piece of every contribution and taking it, and we don't know where that money goes. We have no idea where that money goes.
We don't know who
gets it. We don't know.
Oh,
so
WinRed is a for-profit. Okay, I guess.
Yeah.
It is the counterpart to ActBlue. ActBlue did it first, and ActBlue asks if you want to give them a tip.
Right.
Okay.
And the reason that they ask for the tip is because there's credit card processing fees, and so they ask for. So that's like what 3% or something, and so if you give them like 5 or 10%, it helps for their overhead and all that, right? And everything, but they're nonprofit. They have to file a nonprofit disclosure at the end of every year. You can see it. Anybody can go see it.
Spend their money and stuff, and where the money they account for their money.
WinRed, on the other hand, is for profit. Doesn't have to disclose where the money goes. So if they're taking a piece of it after the processor fees,
which means they're a person, right? Sorry.
Well, yeah, but ActBlue is too. It's just that they're a nonprofit corporation, and WinRed is a for-profit corporation, but. The thing is that where's the money after the processing fees and after whatever you're paying any employees? Where's that going?
Yeah.
Where's it going? Nobody knows.
So making those profits.
Right. In the meantime, the RNCs, that small donor fundraising is totally being siphoned away from the RNC. And it's nuts. Their fundraising. And I'm not sorry that the RNC is almost broke. Boo-hoo.
No, we're not.
So are they using the fund? So the RNC fundraising is going to pay for Trump's legal fees? Is that what's happening?
No.
Is that allowed?
I mean, so the RNC is basically like Trump has his own fundraising operation, and they send out like 5 or 6 emails a day. Well, right. Yeah. Is that right? And it's for the most part, small donor. I think he's probably got some large donor, but I think most of it's small. And that's what goes into the Save America PAC, and that's what he uses to pay his legal fees. It's, John Jones down the street who's giving his $25 to Trump because he loves Donald Trump. He's paying his fucking legal fees.
Yeah. And he's not giving money to the RNC. I do want to point out that until Trump announced, the RNC was helping to pay with Trump's legal fees.
Right.
Until he became a candidate, they were helping to pay his legal fees.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. They were.
Yeah.
So why did they stop once he announced?
When he became a candidate, they couldn't do that anymore because the primaries are on. So it's him and, all the others. They can't give to everybody, so they give to nobody. I mean, DNC does the same thing. They don't give to any primary candidates either.
Right.
So.
Got it. Okay.
And then for the general, they
once there's a candidate, a one candidate. Got it.
In each, but
I understand.
Party money also goes down the ballot too.
Sure, down ballot.
So I'm reaching back like a week or so, maybe more. 2 weeks.
It's so long.
It's been so long, for real. But did any of you guys watch the crazy Republican debate?
No.
I was still jet lagged and I fell asleep.
You were so tired last week. You poor thing.
Oh, so I watched it, but I muted it and put the closed captions on because I just couldn't bear to hear the screamy voices of everybody. But even through the mute and the closed captions, Vivek Ramaswamy struck me as the biggest asshole on that stage. I mean, like he's such a one.
Given the people on that stage, that's really
Hillary appeals to them.
I know.
The party of supporting assholes.
Yeah, it's true.
So that's why, he's his poll numbers are up.
Yeah, they're still 30 points under Trump's, but yes, they are up.
Yeah.
From it. I don't get it because and I don't think it's going to last either. I mean, I think it's like remember Herman Cain and all the others that they had, right? The Republican Party is inherently racist, so they're not going to nominate this guy.
Yeah,
they're just not.
Yeah.
But he's out there to
what?
He's out there to round up millennials who want to be assholes just like him.
There you go. The Daily Beast today was talking about how he's playing a long game, that he knows that he hasn't a chance in hell of winning the nomination, but he does have a chance of picking up the mantle of MAGA after Trump's gone to jail.
Right.
That's his goal.
So basically he's a fascist.
I'm looking at the list of people on stage. I've never even heard of Doug Burgum. I have no idea.
He's the governor of North Dakota.
And he's already
all 550 people that live in North Dakota like him.
I have no idea
who billionaire who,
Right. He moved to North Dakota, I think, to be the governor after making his billions in tech somewhere. So yeah, he's an oligarch. He's one of them. And then poor Asa Hutchinson, I have to say this because he's like the only guy on the stage that actually would have the balls to say, Trump is going to jail and, he shouldn't be the nominee for this party. And even Chris Christie raised his hand when they asked him, right? Raised his hand when they asked if he would vote for Trump. Well, what is wrong with you people? Why would you vote for a guy who's facing 91 counts of felony counts, 91 crimes allegedly committed? What is the matter with you people that you would do that?
And they would pardon him.
This is the problem with Republicans, is that they fall in line. And I honestly mean this. This is different. Democrats don't do this. I swear, if our people, if anybody in our party falls off the line a little bit, right? We're like, drum them out, get them out, make them resign, right? I mean, that's what we do. We don't go, he just committed a little crime, we're going to keep him there.
Oh, you're talking about
don't do that.
No, we drum them out if they do something a little bit out of line, but disagreement. Oh yeah, we fight. We have very disagreements because they're a party.
A lot of people think that's what's wrong with Democrats. And a lot of people are like, why can't Democrats fall in line like Republicans do? And I think that's one of our strengths because we have diversity.
Right. We are the actual big tent party that encompasses everything from conservative, moderate Democrats, center left, all the way to the socialists.
I don't want to be like those fucking sheep.
And we're all under the umbrella. And, we discuss. It's like when we were kids and mom and dad, no, we're not fighting. We're having a discussion.
Yeah.
We discuss a lot.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing.
No, it's not a bad thing, but it just blows me away that Republicans across this land will fall in line, and I guarantee you they will fucking vote for Trump.
Yeah. They will.
After he's nominated, even though he's facing 91 felony counts. And even assuming that he pardons himself out of all the federal stuff, right? He is screwed on the Georgia count. He is screwed. He's and their best hope was to pull out Fani Willis, right? There was a Republican this week that went on and said that she's I can't even remember the words he used, but it was the bottom line was that she's a fascist or something, or like Nazi Germany.
What he said was that it would be a lot better to get rid of her than to start shooting up his fellow Georgians, because it's a civil war.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah. Real nice guy. So then Brian Kemp came
out and shoot his neighbors because they disagree with him.
Right. Brian Kemp came out and said, well, you know what? There's no grounds to do anything to Fani Willis. Sorry, but we're not doing that.
Yeah.
But that law is still there, does he have to approve it, or can the legislature still make it happen?
It's a commission under the law that they passed. Okay. They're supposed to be, and he's refusing
the commission.
Yeah, he's not going to appoint a commission. Right. So, There's nothing, and he's got the high ground in this because he was just reelected and has a new term. So, I mean, there's not any chance that.
And there's no love lost between him and Trump.
Oh, no.
Right.
You know, that was the thing. Trump fucked around with Republicans in Georgia.
Yeah.
And they don't like it. They know what he did. And that's
but so do all the other ones. I mean, it's just that, you know, it's just dumb luck that in Georgia, the Republicans in Georgia happens to be the Republicans that weren't going to stand for it.
Right.
You know, but I mean, if this had happened in Texas.
Oh, Texas, Indiana, North or South Carolina.
It just so happened to be in Georgia.
Right.
Where we were lucky enough to have slightly less horrible Republicans in place to hold the line.
Right. I mean, I'm not forgiven for Stacey Abrams. So,
yeah. I mean, so that, I mean, I'm grateful for that crumb.
Yeah.
You know? Could we just talk for a minute about Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton and the fact that neither of them tried to have an insurrection when they didn't get elected. Both of them conceded when they didn't get elected. So every time that you hear, what about Stacey Abrams and Hillary Clinton, and that's going to be a big thing coming up because they want to make some kind of big fucking deal out of it. I don't know what. Just remember, you know, they conceded.
Yeah.
They can, you know, Stacey Abrams didn't like it, and she said she didn't like it, but she said there was no pathway to even contest it. So she conceded.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I don't know. They just get more and more extreme. You know, speaking of Georgia Republicans, they're not all great. You know, I mean, we have Marjorie Taylor Greene. Who, but she wants to.
Come on.
She thinks she'll be great as soon as she starts the impeachment proceedings for Joe Biden, which she thinks an impeachment inquiry is just inquiring as to whether you want to inquire about impeachment.
She's so smart.
I know.
Well, she has said she will not vote for a budget at the end of September. She will not vote to fund the government unless they meet her demands, which includes impeachment, getting out of Ukraine.
The thing is, the Senate's never... they're going to shut down the government.
Yeah, because that's
it's going to be...
And it never
it'll be awful for them.
Why do they keep doing that? It
never works for them.
Works out for them.
I mean, one of two things is going to happen. Either Kevin McCarthy is going to have to accept a bipartisan, budget, which will mean that Marjorie Taylor Greene does not get her way on any of these points, or they'll shut down the government, and that'll go for a while, and then they'll come back and she'll cave because Mitch McConnell over in the Senate. I mean, say what you will about Mitch McConnell, he wants Ukraine funding. You know, and I mean, he has some sense, at least when it comes to that kind of stuff. So
that is, if we will still have Mitch McConnell.
Yeah, well, his doctor says we will. I mean, we're just supposed to ignore our lying eyes.
Not his doctor, the congressional doctor. I've never read such a load of bullshit in my life.
Well, it really leaves me with no faith in these doctors that serve, after Ronnie Jackson's crap with, with Trump, and then this. I mean, we saw what we saw, and neurologists are saying, listen, without diagnosing him because we haven't seen him, that behavior is typical of seizures, right? There, I heard one person call it a focal seizure. Which is like where you just freeze and your vision is fixed on something and you just can't move for several minutes or, seconds, and then it goes away. And so I get that we all have a right to privacy, but in this case, I think all of us are sitting here going, is he dying? Right. I mean, and I have no love for Mitch McConnell, but right now is not the time where we need a big upheaval in the Senate either. So
no, the people waiting in the wings are going to be not as smart as McConnell and worse.
Yeah. Well, John Thune, Mr. South Dakota. Yeah. And, ugh. Ugh. So anyway, but Mitch McConnell, I mean, if they're going to ever get a bill reconciled with the Senate, Marjorie Taylor Greene's not going to get her way. Boo effing who.
And so
None of them should.
Is a lot of people suffering because they're going to shut down the government.
Right.
And then they will turn around and blame Joe Biden for any damage to the economy that the shutdown does.
Right.
Because that's the playbook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The playbook. And they run it again and again and again.
And they never win.
And they never win.
It never does anything for them. Huh?
In the meantime, our bond rating goes down because of this.
Right. Well, yeah, our bond rating already went down because of the division in our politics.
Yeah.
Because I feel like saying, hey, fuck you. Joe Biden got all kinds of bipartisan shit done when we had the, control of the House and the Senate.
It's why we don't need no labels. We have a bipartisan president.
Right.
We have a moderate in office.
Oh God, my blood pressure goes up so much.
Every time I hear labels, I know it's the same. It's like, ugh. Yeah, I know. And everybody assumes that it's going to hurt Democrats, and maybe it is. It'll hurt Republicans. I mean, I'm thinking back to Perot. Remember Ross Perot running?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And it helped Clinton in the end, but I don't know.
I don't know either. I wish that the media would stop dwelling on Biden's age.
I do too.
I also wish that the media would stop pretending that Vice President Harris
doesn't exist.
Right.
Either doesn't exist or isn't popular, is a liability.
Right.
Yeah.
It's one or the other.
Right.
I know.
There was a small period of time, maybe half an hour, when the media was trying to was actually making noises about giving Kamala Harris her due.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's over.
And now it's done.
All done.
All done.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
All done.
Yeah, no, if they had their choice, they'd bury her. I mean, or just keep telling us stories about how she can't keep staff and blah, blah, blah. And how it's always the women that are bullies. Have you ever noticed that?
Nikki Haley seems obsessed with her.
Can we interview Kamala Harris's staff and ask them if they did illegal things because they were afraid she would yell at them? Because I'm guessing that none of them would say that.
Not even Amy Klobuchar's staff says that.
No.
Right. Yeah. So there you go.
I was afraid of a comb.
I know. I mean, I said something about Harris on that service, used to be Twitter, and I got a bunch of people back saying, basically, well, she'll never win. Everybody knows that. Blah blah blah. If something happens to Biden, I'm like thinking to myself, you people really don't pay attention at all. Because if you paid even the least little bit of attention, you would know that she's actually extremely qualified to take over for Biden, and that he has made her a partner in everything that he does. And her foreign policy portfolio plate is very full.
Yeah.
And in addition to, the rest of it. But the problem is that the reason media is ignoring her, in my opinion, is because she's popular with Black people. Right?
Bingo.
I mean, the joy when she in the crowds, wherever she goes,
right,
is palpable.
Yeah.
And and the media don't care. The media doesn't want. That's not a story for them.
Nope. They'd rather cover Trump 24/7 than have to cover Kamala Harris for a half hour.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's not interesting to them.
Which
shows how absolutely
we're not being well served by
how
our
sick how dysfunctional the media is.
Yeah. Well, it's all about the bucks and the clicks and the eyeballs and the drama and this no drama administration, this competent no drama administration is not good for the news business. They don't enjoy.
They haven't even really covered the student loan forgiveness, which is, I mean, I've been thinking about just doing a roundup of the posts I see online on Facebook, on Twitter, on Mastodon, on Reddit, of all the people who are like literally rejoicing because their lives have changed and they can now, like, they don't have to pay those student loans.
You should. I think that's a great, if I were the editor of your site, I would take that.
That's a great idea.
Do it. Or assign it to someone, Karoli.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I mean, because, that is a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like the joy that I've seen it does something for me to see it. Absolutely. You know, I mean, both my kids went to school and graduated with no debt, and then went to one of them went to grad school, and she has debt, but she's paying it off. My oldest son is going to walk in the spring, and with his bachelor's degree, and he'll have a little bit of debt, but not much. But his wife was like just buried in debt, and hard to get ahead and all the rest of it. And so they're, one of the success stories because she's been paying on it for 15 years. So, yeah, I mean, these are big deals. And so like when you see the red rose, people go, he's not forgiving student debt. You can be like, why don't you just wake up and actually look at what's happening?
Yeah.
Right. Because even the people that are on, like at the new payment plans are happy. Yeah. Because they're saving money, and in many cases, in fact, aren't paying anything and aren't accruing any interest.
Right.
The interest thing is huge.
That's why these loans that seem reasonable when they take them out at 18, and then they end up owing multiples of what the original loan was for by the time they are 50. Yeah. And they're still trying to pay them off.
Yeah.
It's a life sentence.
It's a crime. It is a crime.
Yeah.
It is a crime. It's always been the interest that there was a problem. If you could borrow interest free, they would repay it.
Yeah.
It's really that simple.
It's compounding the way it does.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not against the people lending the money, earning a fair profit.
But it's the government that's loaning the money. So
there you go.
That's the point. The government loans the money. The government has the ability to not charge interest on it.
There you go.
The government benefits from an educated populace.
Right. I mean, honestly, it would be better if we just paid for them to go to college rather than making them take out loans to go.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. One side of the political equation wants a well-educated, informed electorate so that they can make decisions and vote. Yeah. The other side wants them all to watch Fox and live in the right-wing media bubble and be stupid.
Mm-hmm. But both parties are pretty much the same.
They're the same. Yeah.
Yeah, both sides. Both sides. Oh, God. So you guys, one of the things I do check into Twitter for is New York Times PitchBot. And
he had one the other. You can't really get anywhere else.
And it's true. He had one the other day that actually I read it and I thought it was an actual headline. And it wouldn't surprise me if it becomes an actual headline, because it seems like when he throws those things out, the next day or the day after have those.
They pick it up. It does seem that way sometimes.
Yeah. So he's great. If you don't follow him, it's twitter.com and he's at @balloon.
Yeah.
J Balloon, right? I mean, I just know him as PitchBot, but yeah. So,
but if you could search for PitchBot, that's his actual username.
So funny if you're able to not cry.
Oh no.
It's one of those. It's so true, and oh my God.
I know.
Well,
it's sad.
Guys, we've got about 5 minutes left. What are you doing for your holiday weekend?
I am doing nothing really tomorrow, and on Sunday I have a volleyball tournament.
Are you playing?
Yeah.
Really?
Cool. I've been playing volleyball for years.
I didn't know that.
Really?
Oh. I did not know that.
All these years, and Donna learned something new about me.
I know.
Yeah, so that's on Sunday. And of course, it's been in the low humidity, high 85 all week, all the way till tomorrow. And then on Sunday, it's going to be 96 degrees.
Oh, ick.
Sorry.
So anyway, but it's going to be great, a lot of fun. And I don't have any plans for Monday.
Well, you're going to be resting from.
I'll be recovering.
Humidity
on the couch with ice and ibuprofen.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah, I'm not doing anything except laundry because I have to get ready to. I'm going up to dog watch on Wednesday.
Grandchild.
Yes, my grand dog.
Which one? Oh, which one?
Taco the grand dog. Yeah, up in Santa Cruz.
All right.
Yeah, so they're going to Greece.
Will you be up there?
I will be up there for 2 weeks, a little more than 2 weeks, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you, Donna?
Since I'm the one who just spent over 4 weeks out of the country, we're just hanging. We might go see a movie. We might go see a movie. 2 days to hang. Mm-hmm. So, still just trying.
Hanging actually sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. You know what? We can end this a couple minutes early. What do you think?
I think
All right.
Okay.
Well, then, that is our show for this Labor Day weekend. Join us next week on YouTube, MOMocrats.buzzsprout.com, or on your favorite podcast service such as iTunes, Google, and Amazon Music. And be sure to check our Facebook page for updates. I'm Donna Schwartz Mills with Karoli and Aliza Worthington saying goodbye for the MOMocrats.
Bye.
Bye.
MOMocrats MOMochat is part of the Demcast family of podcasts.